Welcome to another Numismatic Notes with Benjamin. I am Benjamin, and tonight I am sharing a banknote of France. For those of you who don't know too much about world geography or world history, it may be surprising to know that here in the middle of the United States, where I live in the state of Oklahoma, that at one point it belonged to France. Yes, it was part of the Louisiana Purchase, and it has gone back and forth from Spanish territory to French territory, to Mexican territory, to Confederate territory, to Oklahoma territory, and the United States of America territory. The entire counties in the eastern portion of the state still bear their French names, and we have more than a couple of towns that have a name that reflects our French heritage. I'm very excited to share with you this note from France. This is one of my favorite authors that you'll find on a banknote, and I'm sharing tonight with you a note from France, the 5 Nouveaux Francs, and it is dated 2/11/1961. I used Wikipedia for some of my source materials, the banknote book, and of course Krause Publications' standard catalog of world paper money, which calls this note a PIC 141, and the banknote book has not released their French chapter yet, so I don't know what the banknote book's going to call it. It is a paper note. It is blue and predominantly orange in color. And on the face of the note, we have the Pantheon, which can be found in Paris. And we have an image of Victor Hugo, born the 26th of February, way back in 1802. And the watermark on this note is also of Victor Hugo. Victor Marie Hugo is known by me specifically for his novels, The Hunchback of Notre Dame, and his book, Les Miserables, which also has become a very popular Broadway musical. He was also a prolific artist, which I did not know. That was fascinating to me. On the back of the note, we have a similar vignette of Victor Hugo, but we have a different building than the Pantheon. We actually have, I'm pretty sure I'm not saying this, Vasges place, which was where he lived in Paris. Interestingly enough, Hugo thought that he was conceived on 24th of June, 1801, which is one of the strange reasons why he put that in his book, Les Miserables, as Jean Valjean's number, 24601. So there's that. I had no idea that there was that story behind the number of Jean Valjean. His novel about Notre Dame shamed Paris into restoring the neglected church, and it has become a world tourist destination, and that's completely due to Hugo's novel. I guess at one time there was talk of bringing it down, and I know there was that fire in the last bit of time that has done a lot of damage, but of course they will be rebuilding it because it has become such an affectionate place in the hearts of Parisians and world citizens. Victor Hugo was the namesake of Hugoton, Kansas, where my father grew up and where I had the pleasure of living briefly as a child. I had no idea it was named after Victor Hugo. The Pantheon, which we see here on the front side of the note, let me scoot that down a little bit, was built as the Church of Saint Genevieve. It was during the French Revolution that it was transformed into a mausoleum modeled after the Pantheon in Rome. It went back and forth as a church and then as a mausoleum until it became permanently a mausoleum in 1881. In addition to Victor Hugo, people who are buried that are meaningful to me as I read the list include Louis-Antoine de Bougainville, who was an admiral that appears on a French colonial note that I did in a previous video, as well as Louis Braille, the blind child who created the system that is still used worldwide nowadays to facilitate the conveyance of literature to people who are sight challenged, as well as Marie Curie and Alexander Dumas, the Arthur, or Alexander Dumas, as he's called in Oklahoma. And poignantly, to the 2,600 people who were righteous among nations and saved many Jews from the Nazis at a great risk to themselves. A beautiful way to forgive a nation that, whether they intended to or not, and regardless of history, had a population willing to stand up and do the right thing. On the other side of the note, the building that Victor Hugo lived in, the Place de Vasges, is the oldest planned square to be found in Paris. Victor lived there, and so did Cardinal Richelieu for a time. So, a meaningful note, a great design. Very pleasing to me. He does kind of have creepy dark eyes in this picture, but it is what it is. He has a fantastic head of white hair, a beautiful white beard and mustache. I could be Victor Hugo. Someday I'll show you a picture and we'll see if you feel the same way. Let's see if I can't get that fixed there. This family of notes is interesting for me because you have the main character on both sides of the note, along with scenes that relate to the character's life. So this is a beautiful series of note. This is a note that I purchased by accident. And when I say I purchased by accident, the person I got it from was just like a dealer at a antique mall and just saw it as a French banknote and sold it to me for very little because that's what he had in it, very little. And it was not a note that I would have easily purchased for my collection because I wouldn't say it's terribly pricey, but it is more than I tend to spend on a banknote. The security features of this note tend to be in the ornateness of the design, the rich variety of colors used, and the watermark. There doesn't seem to be too many things like special threads or, security devices that I'm aware of in this note. It's just a beautiful note. Let's see if I can't find that watermark for you. Yeah, the watermark is a little ghost face right here next to Mr. Hugo. But if you have a chance to go see his Broadway musical, Les Miserables, I'll tell you a funny story if you won't tell my sister. Way back in the day, she fell in love with Les Miserables, and I could hear her pretending she was Fantine or the little girl, I've got a castle on a hill. And, it was just terribly cute. And so one day I went out and I found an old copy of Les Miserables, which I purchased and then just left on her bed for her to find. Well, I'm not going to claim that she's the cleanest person, but it was about a week before she found it among her pillows and stuffed animals. And when she found it, she came storming out of her room going, Ben, they have turned my favorite musical into a book. And I just was like, okay. So, funny story if you are a reader of books. If you're not, maybe not. But this is a great banknote from a great family of notes from France. And France may be a lot of things, but they have some of the most beautiful banknotes that can be found anywhere in the world. And their style and their quality of workmanship is such that even it is apparent in other nations that used the French banknote firms to make their own notes. Absolutely beautiful note. I think that every collection should have a French note in there somewhere, and this would be a beautiful choice of those notes that are available. Please like and subscribe to my page. I now have 185 subscribers, and this is the 76th video in my video library. I'm very excited to share my videos with you. What other videos would you like to see? Please share, please click subscribe, and please comment. I look forward to hear what you have to say. This is Numismatic Notes with Benjamin. I am Benjamin. Have a jewel of a day.